So 2025 has been an exciting year, especially for cameras, and I had the honor to test various cameras of them. So in this video I want to summarize which have been my favorite cameras in terms of cinema cameras, mirrorless cameras, hybrid cameras, and to give you an honest opinion which cameras are worth investing in. Coming up. So first of all, let's talk about 2025. There has been a lot of cameras, especially the Lumix S1 II, which I'm recording on right now. Then we have the Nikon ZR, the very exciting price point. Then there was the Canon C50, which just came out, and then also some cinema cameras that are pretty exciting as well. So the camera market is very fast, so I wanted to give you my honest opinion what I've been noticing when I've been testing these cameras and so on and so forth. So first category, let's start with the hybrid mirrorless cameras. So these ones I do not consider as actual cinema cameras. They are in a smaller form factor and try to do everything in both worlds. And here we have three main contenders actually, which is for me basically the Lumix S1 II, then we have the Nikon ZR, and then we also have the Canon C50. Let's start with the Nikon ZR. I think it's a great contender in its category, but I wouldn't place it as the first camera actually. I mean, the price point is really interesting, but it still has some quirks that Nikon needs to fix. First of all is the H.265, and then also the whole UI, meaning like anamorphic support and also the focus peaking and all the exposure tools. Then we would have a very good camera, and still at this point, I think there are other cameras that are superior and then that can actually do better in that regard. So then we have the Canon C50, which I would place at the second here in this case. This one is a very interesting camera because it has also two UI systems inside the camera, so you can switch between them. So that makes it really convenient to switch between photo and video. You also have open gate, you have dynamic range and all that what you want to have. The only big downside for me in this kind of mirrorless hybrid camera world is that it doesn't have an IBIS. So that's probably because Canon is more targeting that camera to a cinema camera, and when we are talking about cinema cameras, we don't necessarily want a stabilized sensor because that can also cause some issues. But that being said, I think like the Lumix S1 Mark II is the best camera in that regard. I still feel like that the Nikon ZR, when you're calling Red RAW, has better colors, and that's also subjective, but that's also a thing that you can color grade. But there's nothing really that the Nikon ZR does which the Lumix S1 II doesn't. So just Red RAW, but you can also record ProRes RAW and everything like that. And it also has open gate, and in terms of dynamic range, it should be also a little bit better. So for me personally, this camera still packs it in one body, and now that they also address the overheating issues, which I never had an issue with, is also great. So therefore I think the Lumix S1 II is the go-to camera in terms of hybrid if you want to have a compact mirrorless setup. Wait, before we're gonna continue with the video, I want to highlight our today's sponsor, which is Artlist. More specifically, the brand new AI toolkit from Artlist that keeps everything from AI into one organized platform, meaning you have AI video, you have AI photo and AI voiceover in a complete organized way that makes it very easy and accessible for everyone. And I think that's also the case why it's very useful for every creator, every filmmaker, every photographer, because there's everything in one place. Not only that, you have also the newest AI engines that you can try from, and this is really great. I personally don't see it as a threat for filmmakers. I just see it as an enhancement because I regularly use it in pre-production or also to enhance some shots that I already did. I personally think this is just the beginning because Artlist has planned a lot for 2026, so stay tuned for that. Now let's come to the second category, which is for me cinema cameras, and they are quite a few which are pretty interesting, but for me there's only one big winner here in this category. We also have the Raptor XE, which is very exciting because it is basically the form factor and everything of the Red Raptor, but half the frame rates. But honestly, 8K in 60 FPS is more than enough, especially for that price point that you are paying. For me, the winner in the category is actually the Pixus 12K and also the Ursa 12K LF. So we have that big RGBW sensor. It's not a Bayon Pedder sensor, so you can do in-camera scaling, which haven't been able before. So this is crazy, and also it has that high dynamic range in this camera, and also especially for the Pixus 12K, it is very accessible for most people, and it also has now a box form factor. It has a little bit of a slower read speed compared to Raptor and stuff like that, yes, but I think all the other features outweigh every other camera in that category. So for me, the Pixus 12K, especially with that sensor is the camera to beat in the near future, and I think it has a great value. The color science is great, and you can do in-camera scaling, so you don't need to shoot 12K basically. So this makes this camera just amazing. So yeah, there's nothing really else I could say. I'm really stoked to test the Pixus 12K in depth. So I had the opportunity to shoot with it on some events and stuff like that, but I will have it in the office for quite a few weeks to test it even further. So if you want to know more about it, just yeah, tell me in the comments below what you want to know. And I'm personally also very interested, what are your thoughts on what is your favorite camera of the year? Maybe that is something that I didn't mention, could be also because it's also kind of a little bit of a subjective thing. So please tell me in the comments below, and I hope to see you in the very next one. And cheers!